Welcome to the Wizards of Ecom, your no-fluff playbook for online success. Each episode is fully packed with actionable tactics you can implement in your business right now. Take your life to a higher level and excel in your online success. It's time to work on you and your business. Let's do this.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to Wizards of Ecom. Today we have none other than Barbara Boschen as our guest. Barbara is founder of Merchant Minds, fellow Amazon seller, fellow wizard who presented several times to our group. And also she has over 20 years experience as entrepreneur and really extensive background in traditional financing and traditional financial planning and analysis. Barbara, it's a pleasure to have you on the show.
I thank you so much for having me. This is really great. This has been like my little pet project. So I'm so glad that we get to talk about it and look into it a little bit more. And maybe open some people's eyes to it because, as we were discussing, posts are something people aren't really thinking about yet, and they're really not paying attention to, and they should be doing it now when it's so easy to do everything. Amazon has a tendency, as everybody knows, it's easy, and then it gets harder and harder and harder and harder to do stuff, and it costs more and more and more money to do it. So people said Amazon used to be fun. And I'm like, yeah, didn't it?
It used to be.
Now it's a lot of work.
And you actually just talked about the reason why I had you on the show, and it's Amazon posts basically. And talking about Amazon posts, I was just telling you right before hitting recording, I was like, I'm like looking for a very, very long time for someone who can present on this topic, because everyone is saying, yeah, I can. It's like a 10-minute topic, it's 15 minutes topic, when it's like, okay, that means that you don't know much about it. So Barbara today, she actually prepared also a presentation, like slides as well. And I was like, oh my gosh, so you are the best. So today, really, we're going to deep into what Amazon posts are, who's eligible to use them, and also how to use them bestly, like most efficiently, and really weaponize it when it comes to your PR brand. Yeah. Barbara, please go on.
Okay. As Naomi said, I'm from Merchant Minds, and we make software that helps you relist from Amazon to Walmart called Merchant. And we also do automated keywording software, which helps you keyword all your listings in one fell swoop, and that is called Easy Key. And I've been an Amazon seller, as you said. I think 2009 was when I first started selling at Amazon. A little bit about my background, most people know, but Amazon was my escape plan from corporate America. So I worked in finance and budget and planning, and I really liked my job. I just really didn't like corporate so much. It never seemed like there was any way for me to get my work-life balance back. And a lot of that was me, I'll admit it, but long and short of it is, they'll take as much as you'll give. And I said, what? I'm not doing what I love. I want to do what I love. I want to solve problems, figure things out. And if anything, Amazon is a place that gives you lots of problems to solve and lots of things to figure out. So it's been very good in that way, I guess. Although sometimes I wish I could just do it and not think about all the stuff that they throw at you. So Amazon posts is something the whole brand world of Amazon is something that since we started doing private label, obviously I've been very, very interested in. And things have frustrated me in how they do the branding. Like, yeah, we can have a brand, but it's so tiny versus what a brand is in the real world. And then they started adding more and more things, and it quickly became obvious that brands is where they want to go. They want to own or have in their portfolio all these brands that they offer to customers. And why? Because brands stand for something. Brands have things like insurance and trustworthy products, and brands bring to the table a much different world than buying something on Alibaba or picking something up, on a flea market. And they really are starting to, where they used to be, you just sold stuff on Amazon. Now we're migrating away from that. I feel like selling is great, and that's what they still want to do, but they want to do it in a way that has more stickiness and more grabbing of the customer and keeping them there. And social media, totally the total thing. And brands can play on that social media in the Amazon space. So I can share my screen, right?
Of course. Let me double check, but I think that
there you go. I got it. Okay.
All right, brilliant.
Oh, you have to enable me.
There you go. You're being enabled. Please do so, share it.
Yay. Okay, now I have to say okay, and I have to do it again. And there we go. Okay, I think we're good. Can you see it now?
Yes, brilliant.
Very confusing to me. Okay, I got it. because I've got my view screen on the left. I see what what is PowerPoint is doing. They're giving me like a prompter on the left, and then I get the big screen right. So Amazon has been doing a lot of, as I just said, brands are on Amazon are the future. That's where they want to put more and more tools and services in there for people who have brands, because when you own a brand, you're going to build on a brand, you're going to build it. They've seen how people add to the listing and do all these things. And they've put stuff out there like A+ content, which we've had for quite some time. They just added Amazon Live over the last year and a half. They've added posts as a beta over the last year and a half. They have virtual bundles, I think probably came out again in the last year. And a lot of these things are about engagement. From a seller's perspective, it's about shelf space. So you want to get as much out there as possible. I used to think virtual bundles was just a nice way to sell more stuff. But as I thought about it, it's really a nice way to take up more shelf space with your products. If somebody's looking for something, I can now 1, 2, 3, 4x multiply what I'm selling with just the same things that I'm selling. So it really gives me more shelf space.
Yes.
Posts are very, very similar. And why is Amazon like really interested in posts? They're so like everybody's Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all these social media places show one thing: stickiness. People spend a ridiculous amount of time, in my opinion, on Facebook. I spend way too much time on Facebook doing all the stuff for the business and our software. My kids are on Instagram all the time, and I'm on there posting stuff for their brand. And there's so much time there. Amazon sees that and they're like, what if we could have social media on Amazon and create the same type of stickiness? Because like, you know, that Amazon is entertainment. It's not just going to buy like a hammer or going to buy a new toaster. It's entertainment. You go, just like when you go shopping in a store, it's a lot of people just shop for fun. So Amazon realizes that, and the more engaging they can make it, the more interesting it is. So they started going down this path of adding in social media aspects onto Amazon. And obvious reason, if you can be, I remember in college, my advertising class, and the teacher said, what's the most interesting thing you can add in your store to get people to buy? Like, and people were saying music and lighting. And then he said, no, the products they want to buy when they want to buy them. So Amazon wants to build a place that has stickiness, so people are in the same place when they want to buy something, you know, that they've been spending time looking and shopping, and just keep them there. And Amazon's posts can only grow. If you see, Instagram now has Reels in response to TikTok. Amazon, I believe, very shortly, and there's been little like, you know, like slips that you can't do it yet, will have their version of Reels as well. Where you can do that, and it'll maybe be some cross between Amazon Live that becomes, you know, saved. I don't know, but I know that they're going to keep expanding on this because they've seen how powerful it is out in the rest of the, you know, online space.
Yeah.
So probably I'm going to guess, and like, I mean, you know, posts, and a lot of people know what they are, but I'm going to guess that most people, even people I know who have brands, small and large, are not doing posts. They don't understand. They're like, oh, well, yeah, I'll just, you know, it's a lot of pictures. It's a lot of work. It's, you know, what am I going to get from it? What's the result?
Yeah.
And honestly, right? Like, how many people do you know do posts?
I think that people don't understand the ROI, because usually, like when I would ask a question, okay, what is my return on investment here? People would say, rather than, okay, how many sales did you got? But here it's a different approach. It's not necessarily a salesy approach. It's like, as you were saying, as you were mentioning, it's stickiness. So are you sticky? Like, are you really like making because it's also a following base there as well. So do you really allure the customer there to stay with you and be really part of your community? Because that's also a community, the way they are saying.
Right. Yes, that's essentially what you're doing, is you're building. You don't want to make a post to sell a product per se. You want to make a post to click and have them do some activity. Is that activity looking at your different products? Because you can put up to 10 products in a post, and they can very easily right there in the feed that they're, you know, whatever they're doing, whether it's on mobile or they're looking online on desktop or whatever, they can look at multiple products at once. So that's one activity you want to get them to do. You want them, I mean, Amazon uses this word all through the post lingo of engage. So you want people to engage with you in one way or another. Click on the post and go look at your detail page. Click on the post and get to your storefront. But basically stay in the stickiness. And Amazon does build in a little bit, go look at other people's stuff. But for the most part, it's all about you and your brand. So if anybody,
just a question, yes, thank you so much. Just if you don't mind, because we're talking about brands, I think it's important for our listeners and our viewers to know that you should be brand registered. So only brand registered users are having access to this feature at this point.
Right. I think. Yeah, I should have said that. The first and foremost, none of this brand stuff is available unless you're registered. Yeah. And you can get brand registered so easily. You don't even have to have a approved trademark. You just have to apply using an accelerator. And for some people it's expensive, but for $1,000 give or take, you can get brand registered within a week or two.
Yes,
maybe that's maybe 2 or 3 weeks, right? And then it might take a year to get your actual trademark, but you can get up and going with something. There's a lot more to it. You got to have products, you got to have all that. But I mean, if you're already doing, I know a few people that are already doing something in a brand name and they're not registered. Like, oh, it's complicated. And
no, as you were saying, I think that yet again, still people don't understand what it comes with. For example, just a very, very short parenthesis, and I'm giving you the praise that you should get. Here also, like last year or 2 years ago, when we started on Amazon, when we started, we also didn't understand what is the value of having a brand registered and having brand registered, right? And Carlos was saying, hey, there's so much to it. Like, it's not only that you're having your brand registered, that's like recognition. Also, you have like access to video PPC related like things that beforehand that wasn't there. So that's not only posts. So if you're listening to this or watching this, it's not only about posts, but it's a whole arsenal of things. And we are
posts. This should be called like brand : posts, brand : virtual bundles. Each one of their tools has enough information. I mean, we could talk about virtual bundles as well, or any of the tools. And each one of them is more than it appears.
Yes.
It is not just, I know people like, I'll get brand registered, then I can keep people off my listing. I'm like, that's the one thing you actually can't do, Fatty. That's not actually the purpose. But you can, they all said it was just to protect your brand. Definitely. And I was like, it's so much more.
Definitely.
So first off, if I had trouble thinking, do I want to put this at the beginning? Do I want to put this at the end? But this is good information. You go to post.amazon.com, you can sign in, you get ready, get it all set up, and it's pretty straightforward. There's not a high bar to get approved or anything once you're brand registered. And then what you get are posts. This is literally the screen that you would load an image to, write a caption, add 1 to 10 products underneath, and then you can even schedule it if you want. Like what I do on Sunday night is I'll do 20 or 30 of these at a time and schedule them like 2 each day. I probably should be doing 10 times as many, but time is not unlimited, and I can only do so much.
Yes.
The problem with posts that I hate is that each post is its own thing, and you can't use it again. So once you post, you can take elements and remix them. But once you post that post, it's not like I showed somebody some posts trying to explain to them what a post should look like and what it should do. And they were like, oh, I like A versus B. I'm like, it's not an A versus B. You have to have like tons of these posts as if you were similarly like on Instagram. It's not like you do one post, you do post all day long. You're taking pictures, it's crazy. So that's the only thing I wish.
May I add something? Yeah. I hope that I'm also like bringing value, because you're bringing a lot of value. So I'm
sorry if I'm not letting you talk.
No. I just wanted to add here, because you were saying that it's not possible. So I found a hack that I'm happy to share with you, and also happy to share with our listeners. And I highly recommend that you go also on YouTube to watch this, because Barbara is like going through a whole presentation. You can see like step by step how to do it. So you have one picture. What you're doing, you're going to flip it. Ta-da!
Oh yeah. I have those. I flip it. I put different words. I've got logos that I stick on it. You can use it a lot.
You can. No, what I mean, like you have one picture. You were saying that you cannot use the same picture. Just flip the picture.
No, you can use the same picture, but you've got to make it you've got to make the entity different looking.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So, and this, like, it's a very small hack that they are still accepting this. So you basically have 2 pictures, not 1 pictures. There you go.
The one hack I had, and I thought it was genius, is in PowerPoint, you can put a couple pictures and maybe a word or 2 in there, and they've got a design feature and it'll give you all different designs. So I was doing like sort of like montages and things like that, but they don't like those. They say it's too crowded. They want more simplicity. Yeah. So I was like really bummed. I'm like, oh, that's easy. I could, do like 20 of them in a minute and then just copy and paste. Yeah. And I wish the other thing I wish they would do is have an upload feature. So I didn't have to have this lag time every time you do, and you have to wait for it to refresh and list it. I wish I could just like, here's all my images, here's all my stuff, and do flat files for this, but probably nice. Time. Yeah. They needed to make it more, I have too many products to be doing this all day and night. And that's, what I would love to be able to do. So I went and I found some posts to show everybody what they look like. The goal of a post is to get them. So if you can see in the bottom, I don't know if you guys can see my mouse or not. If you can see in the bottom here, this first one on the left that has the lanternfly has a slideshow essentially. So you can click and see different products that they sell, and they don't all have to be 2 lanternflies. They can be any product you want, and put it down there. And you get the opportunity to showcase a lot of products. Now, and this, I guess, is kind of if you're into insects and bugs and stuff, you might want to follow this post too. But the goal is to try to get something engaging that will result in some activity, whether it's looking through the different products, whether it's clicking a follow, which I'll show an example of later, or they go link and go click through and go to your listing. You want some kind of activity in there, and that should get something like, I'm experimenting with some to see if funny ones, like funnier pictures, or I'm trying to think of, like I was saying, like what's clickbaity that I can make up that would be exciting, that still has something to do with my products. But this is what Amazon is looking for right now. And I think you can be very creative. They like this, the one in the middle with, it's showing the product in use and how you can be creative with Avery products to make a work from home station. The one to the right is showing a lifestyle image of a dog and its owner looking, and it's all about dog treats and dog food. So it's all about you, but it's more interesting than just seeing a picture of the dog food or a picture of, printable magnet sheets, etc. So they don't want much white space. They want to see like a real nice picture. And so the next question is, when I first started doing these, I'm like, well, where do these go after I make them? I make these posts and then they just go poof into the ether. Where are they going to show up? They show up on your brand feed, which is your store, your Amazon storefront. There's a little part to the bottom on the nav bar that says posts. You can see that down here in the picture. It's kind of tiny, but they show up on Amazon product detail pages. They show in category-based feeds and related product feeds. I'm going to show you, which are these buttons down here. And, there are a couple different ways. So you may have a dog toy that could actually be seen in Rachel Ray's Nutrish. If someone were to pick the dog, dog treat cookies or something like that, it could actually show in a related post, even though it has nothing to do with your brand. So sometimes that's how Amazon gets you into other people's space. So you may be looking at a lot of dog products and they're not your style. And then maybe you go to a related product feed and you'll see other things that look like that. So that's sort of where they mosh up your brand and other people's brand, which I don't like that much, but pretty good. Then the next slide, I think, is the most interesting. Maybe in the whole deck, probably not. Probably got some other stuff, but
look at that.
This is CoverGirl, and what do you see here? You can see to the right, we're in posts. This brand has no posts.
That's interesting. And look at that, like how many pages they have: home, making the cut, new arrivals, bestsellers. So they have a lot of content actually, and they have
a lot of content. They've built their web store, and when I was trying to find these examples up here, I had to really work hard. I went to Google and I said, major best looking Amazon web stores. So they gave me these three were in the list of like 20 best Amazon web stores. I would say it took me a lot of clicks to find anybody that had any posts. Most of them look like this. And I was like, these are big brands and small brands. I mean, I talk to, I'm on a mastermind once a week, and most of the people in that group have private label, and none of them are doing posts. They're still working on A+ content. They haven't even got that far. So if you can get to posts, you've got a lot of, much like video, right? So video ads are great because they take up a lot of real estate on the search results, and B, nobody's doing them. Well, nobody's doing posts, and Amazon's really into posts. So this is a huge opportunity. And maybe this is the big setup. I might have a lot of big important slides in here. So if you're not doing posts, like CoverGirl's not doing posts, you're missing, in my opinion, 3 big opportunities. First one's obvious. You're not getting brand awareness that you could get just by showing your stuff all around, right? And if someone's going to buy from, I don't know what they say, like if someone's going to buy something from you, especially if it's expensive, they need to see your name a couple times. Someone was saying to me 7 times. I don't know if it's quite 7 times before they're going to make that commitment. Now, maybe the bar is lowered a little bit because it's Amazon and it's FBA and the risk is lowered, but still, get brand awareness is huge, and people will start if they're looking for a specific kind of product, start recognizing that name. Another thing is you're getting free. This is not different than PPC, except you don't have to pay for it. And I'll show you the metrics in a second of what that looks like. And the last thing is you're building a list of followers, which you're like, yeah, I have followers on Instagram. People like my page on Facebook. This is different. This is huge. I guess is the right word. So let's look at why it looks like PPC, because I don't think people are seeing this. They're just thinking it's some other activity Amazon wants them to do and not really thinking about why it's so valuable. And I'll tell you one thing, you have to download the metrics to see the value. I'm not going to go through all these columns because some of them are they're interesting, but I'm not sure what they quite mean yet. But and there's a couple columns to the left that are actually what the post was, what the product was, that kind of thing. But this is the meat. So in the example I'm looking, I had 16,975 viewable impressions. That means Amazon presented that to potential customers over almost 17,000 times with my brand name on it. Whatever that product, I don't remember what that was, whatever that product was. My total engagement, 812 people interacted with it one way or another. Some of them looked at related feeds, some of them clicked through, some of them, followed, whatever. But 210 of them clicked to the detail page. Now, what I wish Amazon would do is put one more column in there and say, and this is how many people bought something, but that's not in there. But that's like a 1% click-through rate. So I went and I looked at one of my best campaigns on Amazon marketing last night. And my ACoS on this, I'm willing to spend $20 a click on this campaign because my ACoS continually stays below 5%. I'm probably getting in this little niche product every customer that ever comes on. My click-through rate is 1%. And I would call that a very, very efficient campaign. Now, I'm no PPC expert. I don't play one on TV. There's people who are 10 zillion times better than me. But I would say that is great, right? If you can do the only cost you have to, at least at the moment, to do posts is your time. Yes. And you can easily give this to a VA. You could structure a process for them that they could do it and not even be that time consuming. I still want to stay close to it and learn it before I give it over to the VA.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, this is brilliant. And I love that you also mentioned this. See, for example, I think most people, exactly like where we started, they are not aware of this. And not only not aware, but they're not thinking PPC. They're not thinking I have to pay $20 for this, it's like, hey, right, it's free, right. but I don't see the outcome, but exactly there. And also if you go into engagement rate, because I'm like very nerdy and I've already seen everything. So if you're going to engagement rate on this post, and you will see, hey, an engagement rate of 4.78% out of almost 20,000 viewable impressions. That's super high. That means that all those people who've seen this specific posts are really highly engaged and super interested in what you posted. So this is huge, you know, and it might be,
Right.
it might be a fluke, but at least, hey, what worked on there? You know, what worked on that post? What did I do? What, you know, at least you can start to see, hey, what's working and what's not working, you know? So it's
Right.
like,
And you can start, now that's what I'm trying to divine, because if you look down 2 rows, I had only 228 viewable impressions. What constitutes viewable impressions? Is it the type of product? Is that product in the 17,000 viewable impressions, something that's searched for more often? I really haven't been able to quite figure that out yet. I granted, I'm not being all that scientific because I'm just trying to, you know, experiment with this in the margins, but, you know, even like some of my engagement rates are 18%, 25%, but their viewable impressions are so low. So I picked something high to give it, but even 5%, that's huge.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. The next slide is what a post looks like to a customer. There's these 3 little cute babies and this button called follow. I might even show those are real babies. No, they must be real babies. They have dimples in their knees.
I don't know.
Oh yeah,
that's a good one. Yeah. That's a good call. You know,
I don't, like, they must be real babies, but
they are.
This listing sells dolls that look like real babies. So I remember when I first started doing RA, I was like, what kind of okay.
Then it's creepy. This is creepy then, because this is not.
Yeah, it's creepy. Okay, but there's a lot of people who have dolls. I won't do any tangents here, but I could tell these things that you know, are shocking. But so the button here that's on, if we can ignore the creepiness, the follow button is really relevant, because the follow button is huge. And if someone clicks on that follow button, they're getting added to a list of people who follow your brand. And again, people aren't thinking beyond this, really thinking, whoa, who cares? So I got a lot of followers. I have a lot of followers on Instagram. What does that do for me?
It's not the same.
What it does for you is customer engagement. They just opened this up. Not everybody that is brand registered has this yet, but those followers are actually your email list on Amazon. So they are the people who liked your products that you can then say, hey, I'm coming out. We just launched new product X. I'd love for you guys to see this. And that customer engagement, you know, it's just starting. It's got a long way to go. Is going to be a way that you can communicate. And remember, I'm sure Amazon's going to open that up to do discounts and promos and all these things. But right now, it's just when you launch a new product, you can tell all your followers about it. So if I only have 250 followers right now, but what happens when I have 2,500 or 25,000 followers?
Yeah, definitely. So
that's going to be huge. That's going to be the new Amazon. That and Vine could be the new Amazon launch strategy, and you won't have to do, you know, $zillion of PPC and search, find, buy campaigns and all this stuff. So I think when I was putting this together last night, I'm like, what's the big win here? The big win is that posts are really the secret sauce that people aren't understanding are super powerful. If you make posts, you'll grow followers and save PPC dollars, and then be able to launch products with them and ultimately be able to communicate them. Now, the customer engagement is very prescribed and Amazon dictates how you do it, but really, like, you can do so much with posts. It's free right now. I always imagine Amazon will make us pay for everything, but you know, it's there. Right? So you can do so much with that right now. That is the secret sauce that people are not paying any attention to. They're getting bogged down in A+ content. They're getting bogged down in all these other things. And I think everybody needs a post strategy. That's all. That's my summarization of what posts are and what they can do for you. There's probably more I'll think about after we get done, but you know, I don't know. I just think that when this struck me, the PPC component and the customer engagement component, I was like, wow, it's not just a branding exercise. This is huge.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Barbara, this was amazing, and I love it. And I love that you actually prepared slides and the presentation.
Doesn't everybody prepare a slideshow? Come on.
No, and it was like I was making. Yeah, so just giving you a short background, Barbara was on a tool stare down this Monday for Wizards of Ecom, and she was like presenting, and we were just talking right before the presentation, and I was like joking around, oh, hope that you prepare slides, and she's like, oh, for sure, you know. And look at that. So
and
this is amazing.
I didn't have a presentation for that one, although I normally do, because he was telling me not to, that he was going to ask me all these questions and stuff, and I had to be like, so I was really frustrated. So I was like, it's fine. But
no, this is great. This is great because also like usually what I'm doing during the podcast interviews is basically asking step-by-step questions. I would have asked exactly the question that you would just answer. So
okay. Yeah. Did you think I missed anything? I'm always trying to learn more. Is there something else that
let me think. I think
might not be yet.
Not necessarily missed it, but I'm actually today I spoke with Elizabeth Green. She's also like really brilliant mind. She's also a PPC expert. And we were talking about, is there like customer engagement? Because that's like always they're testing, right? And also I have it, but I'm not able to access it. And my question there is, do you already have it? Are you able to access it? Or where do you see that brands can go with that?
Well, customer engagement is really interesting. The frustrating part is I've only probably had it for a month. Okay. I kept checking on it like every couple of days, like, oh, I got it. Now, what is it? And my first campaign basically had no results. And I think the issue is that I have 250 followers, but how many people open emails? How many people opt out? How many people do all these things? So I was like, okay, maybe what I need to do is do more customer engagement efforts and see what happens. And you can only do it on products that you've launched in the last 6 months. Well, I'm always doing new bundles and all that kind of thing. So I'm like, all right. So I ran 3 more that literally launched Monday, but I haven't gone back and checked them and given them some time to go through. And they run for about a week. And then anecdotally, what I'm hearing is people aren't seeing much from them yet. But I mean, I think there's so few people that have them that I can't, but I have to believe Amazon's using us as a test pool, experiment pool to figure out how these work better and how these, is 250 followers really enough to get like a response? Do I need 2,500? Do I need, like, I would think like if I did an email campaign to a custom email list, how many sales would I get? And the other thing too is people may have followed because they saw something cute, but they still don't know me, So I think it's a work in progress. So we'll see where that goes. But it does have a lot of potential if it can work.
And I
wish I could see how many people have followed. Like I think followers came from on the book side. As an author, you can get followers.
Okay.
So they sort of developed that over to us. So we'll see where that goes. But
that's brilliant. Actually, that leads me into the next question. How do you think that followers find you? And here also to add, for example, I was like experimenting also with Amazon posts. As you were mentioning at the beginning, I posted literally 10 times per day. I wanted to see what's happening, I wanted to see what's working, what's not working, what should I improve, And I noticed that some of the posts, even if they're very, very identical, they might not work in the same way, I tried also logos, no logo. I tried like all these kind of like tricks to see what's working, what's not working, like text as well. And I got different response on the following base. But what I did, I said, okay, what's happening if I'm not posting at all? And for the past 2 weeks, I think I am on a fast. Let's put it that way. I'm not posting at all. And I'm seeing still like increase like 20 more followers during those 2 weeks.
Well, you can get followers from your storefront. So you could be getting them from there. And people see something cute and they go over and they go, oh, look how many cute things. And then they hit that. So they could be doing it, looking at your feed in your store and doing it, or they could be doing or giving you, you could be getting followers from older posts. They don't have that much material. So they're probably reusing. I know I have some posts from a year ago still going up in number. That they're still rotating through. Some of the ones that did really well, I imagine they're going to keep them and keep rotating them through over and over and over. So while you can't use the same post per se over and over, Amazon puts it in their inventory and keeps, shuffling it out, especially since I probably don't have much post inventory.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Actually, this brought up like something really interesting because we were talking about how to get like followers. There's also a way. Okay, it's also they can follow the post itself. They can follow you also on your store as well, as you were mentioning. So that's
Right.
the second way also, and the third way also. It's going to be there all the time. So unless you're not taking it down, they're going to show it if it's relevant. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
So 3 wins.
Another way you can do it is so we send inserts out with all our merchant fulfilled.
Mm-hmm.
They basically say, thank you for your order. We hope, if please, buy from us again. They're very, very antiseptic from Amazon's perspective. But I printed out a sticker that has a QR code on it and everybody loves to scan QR codes. And the QR code goes on that insert. And if they scan it, they go to my Amazon web store and the QR code says, follow us on Amazon. I don't know. I'll never know how that works, if that works, but I just thought it was a clever idea. And I'm thinking like, would I do a campaign to grow followers? That would be, I don't know. I don't think that would make any sense. But I think that it was kind of if somebody likes what they got from you, we package like crazy people. Maybe that's something, that they'll do. And I was thinking about putting it in my, I do the automated ask for reviews, but I do still ask for seller feedback. And maybe I can put it in there and say, if you like us, please not only leave us good seller feedback or, leave us, I don't even say good or bad, obviously, because that's a no-no, but, please be sure to follow us. So I haven't gotten around to putting that into my emails, but that would be another way too. I think you want to grow that as much as possible to see, again, when I have 2,500, when I have 25,000 followers, another thing too is behind the scenes is Amazon give you more. When I worked in corporate America, I had all these executives that I had to review their bonuses every year. And if they didn't do what they were supposed to do, they could do something, they could do other activities. Oh, well, I couldn't do that, but I did this big project, and they would give them style points. They call them, I always laughed. I'm like, it's just an excuse to get you guys paid, whatever. But I feel like Amazon gives you style points if you edit listings, if you answer questions, if you're what I would call a good seller. Mm-hmm. So I feel like if you're doing posts, they're going to say that's a good brand, and they're going to give you style points. And they probably love, I haven't done much with Amazon Live. I know Carlos was talking about that over the last year. I just feel like I can never get the hair and the fingernails and the studio and the set and the script right to do it. I'm like, it's way too much stuff here. And then I watched a couple of them, like, I'm not even sure what I'm supposed to do. But that'll be the next project. But I feel like post was something that I could do over time and really look at it. And now I just need to do a lot more. Someone was saying, another anecdote, that you shouldn't do more than 3 or 4 posts a week. And I think that might be per product, per SKU. I don't imagine you would just do 3 or 4 posts.
Based on what do you think they say that, like, what's the idea?
They talk to somebody inside somewhere, someplace, that's, there's always these, I heard from so-and-so who heard from so-and-so. So I was like, oh, well, I think as long as my followers are growing, then I'll do as many as I like. So whatever time I can set aside. So it just makes sense to me. If I can push people from a post to my site, to my listing versus PPC, that's a good deal.
Yeah. And that's also like one more extra, maybe it took 5 minutes of your time, right? But yet again, an extra click, an extra follow, an extra like, hey, I'm here and I am the brand, this is who I am, it's not only my product. So definitely.
Right.
Yeah, it's great. It was such a pleasure to have you on our show. And I love that. And thank you so much for, as you were saying, I think that's the main reason why people are not really promoting posts. First off, they are not understanding it. And second, they're not seeing it from your point of view, because it is branding.
It's in the long game.
The long game, exactly. The long game, if they are not seeing the long game, that's there's no motivation behind. So definitely, I love that you said that. All right. So before wrapping up, I love to interrogate all my beautiful guests and ask them 3 or actually 4. I included one more question now.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I wasn't prepared. What is it? Okay, it's easy. It's easy. I promise.
Okay.
First one goes like this. What superpower would you have and why?
Oh, you mean like, would I be invisible, or, which I think is really creepy. I think when people say that, you should be scared of them. Or would you fly?
Honesty.
Or,
yes.
let's
Without
see,
psychoanalysis now. We are not judging. This is judgment-free zone.
I think I would like to be able to pick, like, when you can move things around with your mind, that's what I would like to have.
Ooh, nice.
I can move cars out of my way when I'm driving. So I can just like move the car over to the left because they shouldn't, or move it over to the right because it shouldn't be in the fast lane. That's a superpower. That's very practical.
And scary. I wouldn't go like move.
Just move them slowly into this lane, and then they know that they violated the rule of driving.
We promise this is going to be a very like safe zone. So I'm keeping it. It's safe and it's brilliant. All right. So second thing that I would like to ask you, $50 or less investment that you recently made into, let's say now, because we talked about post, that you invested towards post.
Deposit photos. I use it all the time for my A+ content. I use it all the time for posts now. I mean, literally, I sell a lot of toys. So I was downloading like crazy pictures of babies' faces and kids' faces, and using those for posts out. I think you can do a good amount of work from there for $50 a month. I'm not even sure what I pay for it because we just use it for everything and always have. So it's the best tool. And there's a lot of free content. You can go on Pixabay and get stuff there as well. But the stuff on these paid for sites is really targeted to doing products and posts and A+ content and stuff.
Brilliant. Thank you. That's a really good one. My favorite go-to is usually Canva because we are in the cat niche and there's a lot of cats there. So
Canva's great too. And and it's just.
Yeah, I think also it depends a lot on your niche because as you were explaining, they're like also when you're paying for something, you really like see that you paid for something. So definitely I would go that route as well. All right. And the next question would be which are your top three favorite books and why?
Okay, so I know it's an oldie but a goodie. It's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And it was one of the books that when I first started going out on my own and thinking about it, I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking. Yeah, that really codified everything for me on what entrepreneurial is, what having a business is. My husband's family always looks at me like, how do you think of these things? And I'm like, I don't understand why you don't. But it's just a different way of thinking.
Yes.
Nature's End is a book I've read 3 or 4 times. It's sort of, well, now I think it's a really old book. And when I was in college, we had science fiction class and I got that. So it's a science fiction book, but it's about juxtaposes technological advancement against like environmental decline. So it was really kind of interesting, and I really like that book. And then the last book I'm reading now is How to Think Like a Rocket Scientist. And my hope is that once I finish the book said when you start reading it, that you'll be able to accomplish huge things very precisely. I'm like, okay, I need that. I need to be able to get a lot done and be laser focused. So I'm hoping that Thinking Like a Rocket Scientist is going to be really good.
Let me know how it works out for you. If you really like
started it last night, I'm already like, okay, I can't read this fast enough.
Definitely. I so much love what you shared. It's so like, it's super genuine, super like really like to the point. So I really appreciate that. And also thank you so much for your time. Last question. How can people get a hold of you? Say hello, find out more about you.
I'm on Facebook all the time. We have a group called Amazon Exclusive. If you want to join, we talk about ways to pretty much Amazon, but here and there we talk about ways to keep your stuff separate from the crowd, like how to do private label, how to do exclusives and things like that. You can also email me at barbara@comerchant.com. That's pretty much it.
Brilliant. Sounds great.
Any questions?
Thank you so much once again, Barbara. It was a pleasure having you on the show. And for our listeners and viewers, thank you so much once again for chiming in with us. It was a pleasure to learn about the subject together with you, Barbara. It was a pleasure. Thank you. And see you next Wednesday. Bye-bye.
It was fun sharing this episode with you. If you found value in what you've heard, please show your love with a subscribe, rate, and review of the show. Until next time.